Hi, and welcome to the week 6 office hours replacement video. We're not having office hours this week, so I'm recording this video alone in my living room, just talking to my laptop. And this is the first time I've ever done anything like this without a real audience, so I feel kind of funny. Um, okay, so today we're going to talk about theming, and theming is a big topic. I felt like this course wouldn't be complete without some treatment of theming. However, um, in a 6 week course, we can barely scratch the surface of anything, let alone such a complex topic as theming. That said, it's fairly easy to hit the ground running with some modifications to your existing theme, which is Bartik, um, or by downloading and installing a contributed theme that you find on Drupal.org. The final part of this quick screencast demo will be an actual sub-theme, which takes the first two steps a bit further, in that a sub-theme allows the site developer to make modifications to an existing theme without actually hacking the existing theme. The subtheme inherits properties of its base theme without actually having to alter files in the existing base theme. And this is important just because if you're using a base theme that was contributed to Drupal.org, that theme developers work, that base theme developers work, should be kept safe and secure in the site without any modifications to it. And there's a very practical reason for not hacking an existing base theme, and it's that if the theme developer comes out with an update to the base theme, you'll want to be able to install the update without having to worry about wiping out your modifications. So rather than modifying the base theme, you can create a sub-theme to override properties of the existing base theme. We're not going to start there, though. Like I said, that's fairly complex, and that is the optional assignment. Where we're going to start today is just demoing the first two parts of the week 6 assignment, which are making some very simple modifications to colors and things on the default Bartik theme. And then I'll show you how to upload a contributed theme. And let's jump right in. So here's my demo site, and I haven't touched this really since the last week's office hours, so we're just going to pick up right where we left off. First I'm going to log in. And then I'm going to go to Appearance. So all the theme stuff is handled in the Appearance section. And you can see right away that my default theme is Bartik 7.2. 7.2 here refers to the version of Drupal that we're using, and Bartik, of course, is the name of the theme. Frankly, I really like this theme. It's the default theme that just comes with Drupal, but I think it's really nice in terms of its layout and and typography, and it has a lot of regions for you to work with when you're working on adding blocks and making your own layout and so forth. I don't have a whole lot of complaints about the theme. I think it's really nice. Especially if you've used Drupal in older versions, 5 or 6, you will have encountered the default theme called Garland, and that theme was hideous. There was not much good to say about it, but I think Bartik is really slick, and so you could do some very simple things to the Bartik theme and get, I think, a really nice looking site. So let's manipulate some settings. In particular, let's change some colors. So I just hit the settings link on the Bartik theme, and I have available some options for manipulating colors. And you guys have seen this kind of little widget before. I think when you've made when you've created like a Twitter widget or whatever, you've had this sort of drag and drop color manipulator on the web. And so we can use this color manipulation widget here to change the colors of basically every aspect of the default Bartik theme. And when I say every aspect, I mean the header colors, the menu tabs, the typeface color, footers, and backgrounds. So let's start with manipulating a header top, and I'm not particularly great with color. I tend to prefer to just hire really good designers who can make color decisions for me, but I'm just going to, for the sake of demonstration, fill in some interesting colors, and we'll see what we get. So I've changed it to this like kind of puke green color. Then I can change the main background if I want to. A lot of times when I make a site, I stay away from black and white colors because I think the users just don't need that much visual contrast. So instead of a white background, I'm just going to do this kind of beige background. And then this is the sidebar background color. Let's add, let's make that a little yellow to go with our header color. So you can see I'm just kind of changing some of these colors around. It's very simple. Last, I will just lighten up the footer. I don't know, I just feel like lightening up the footer. I think this doesn't do the Bartik theme very much justice. I just got done saying that I really like the theme. I think my colors here are not all that striking, but nonetheless it's useful for this demonstration. The next thing I can do is upload, well, I can toggle various aspects of the theme to display or not. So I want to have a logo, yes. I want to have a site name, a slogan. I don't need a slogan. I don't need user pictures in posts or comments. So I can toggle these display elements on or off right in the browser. So there's no need to code these anywhere else. I can just toggle them on or off in the settings. The next area that I can manipulate with my Bartik theme is the logo image. I can actually upload a new logo from my hard drive. I'm not going to do this because I don't know, I don't think I have a suitable logo sitting here that I can just use. But I could if I wanted to. I would just upload the logo and it would appear where the default Drupal logo appears currently. And many of you have done this already. It's very straightforward, so I don't need to demonstrate. Likewise, you can upload a new shortcut icon. So right now the shortcut icon, it's also called a favicon. Right now it's just showing the default Drupal logo, very small. I can upload my own version of that if I wanted to, and then save configuration. And now my configuration options have been saved, so I'm going to go home. Oh, well, it did change the logo. Let's actually get rid of this. Well, this is a surprise, but actually I think I uploaded this new logo as a demo for somebody else just recently. So I'm going to toggle back on that I want to use the default logo, save configuration, and go home. And I have my default logo back. And you can see the colors are quite drastically changed. Yeah, it almost looks like an entirely different site now. So like I say, I think in some ways Bartik is a good starting point for creating your own website. You can do a lot with Bartik visually. It's a very, I think, very rock solid design to begin with in terms of layout and typography. And then also when you actually do break into the code and you start looking at the code, Bartik is a very solid theme coding-wise. And honestly, not all themes are very well constructed from a development standpoint. So Bartik is a great option. I'm happy to recommend it. However, you may want to do something completely different. And so for the second assignment in week 6, I asked you guys to try uploading your own theme. Not your own theme, but a theme that you have found on Drupal.org. And there are many themes on Drupal.org, and you guys have uploaded many of them already. So when you, those of you who kind of arrived late to the game, you maybe the theme that you wanted to upload was already taken, and I mean, when I say taken, I mean it was already there when you went to Appearance. That's because somebody else uploaded it. And remember, we're all sharing the same code base. So if your classmate uploads a theme, that theme is available to you as well. Generally, that's not how Drupal sites are configured. Usually, you would just have your own themes available to you, and unless you purposefully combine Drupal sites into a multi-site configuration, it's not like usually the themes and modules aren't shared among multiple sites. That's not a typical configuration. That's in some ways well, this configuration is in a lot of ways specific to what we're doing for this course. Anyway, for the purpose of this assignment, I think it was mainly constructive for you guys just to practice uploading any theme, whether it was the one that you really wanted to use or not. So where do you find themes? Well, a really good place to start is at Drupal.org. I can hit download and extend, and then there's this Themes tab. So a lot of developers will contribute themes to Drupal.org. There are also some resources elsewhere on the internet for free or relatively cheap themes that you can use as well in your Drupal site. Unfortunately, I don't really have like any recommendations for theme providers outside of Drupal.org, and the themes that I recommend on Drupal.org are primarily like base themes. Like I really believe that if you're going to invest any resources in your website, you should invest resources in theming, because the front end stuff is what it's the only aspect of the site that every user must see. In other words, every user sees the front end before they dive into any other aspect of the site. So it's all, in my mind, it all hinges on the front end development. So I think if you're going to invest any resources, I would recommend investing those resources in the theme layer. And to that end, what that usually means is hiring a developer or spending a lot of time on your own developing a theme, and themers always start from a base theme. So Zen is the first theme on this list, and Zen is probably it's probably the most popular base theme. And what that means is, when I say it's a popular base theme, what I mean is it's a theme that's intended to be a blank canvas for you to develop your own unique look and feel. So it provides, not to mix metaphors because of the context of this particular course, but the Zen theme is a theming library. That's one way to look at it. It's a toolkit of resources that you're going to use to build your own theme. And it's very comprehensive. Sometimes it's too comprehensive, but I'm not here to judge or recommend Zen. It just happens to be the first one on the list. And let's see if it happens to be installed on our course sandbox site. So I'm scrolling down to the very bottom, and yes, it's installed. So you guys have installed a lot of themes already. One that I definitely didn't see was one called Framework. And it's one that I use fairly often as a starting point for developing sites, because it is done in HTML5. So grabbing a theme that is already HTML5 just takes away just makes things a little bit easier on me, so I don't have to update the template files to HTML5 later. So anyway, I've used Framework a few times, and I always extend my base themes to use all the fun packages and CSS frameworks and JavaScript and so forth that I want to use. And so Framework is a very basic starting point, and I like it. So I am going to, I've navigated to the Framework project page, and I'm going to download Actually, for those of you on Windows, it's usually easiest to download the zip file. Tar.gz is another file format that that you can't use on Windows unless you have installed some software to use that file format. So I'm just going to download the zip file. I'll go to my downloads. I'm going to unpack it. Here we go. Let's just take a look at Framework. I see a bunch of files. The ones that end in tpl.php are template files, and every aspect of the Drupal site has some template files. And it's kind of like the nesting Russian dolls, where you have like the big one on the outside that's the outside structure of the page, and then you have a smaller one inside of that, and that's you know, the node, and then you have one inside of that, and that's a region within the node, and so forth. So these template files control regions of the page, and I like to think of them as like these nested Russian dolls, because you can get very specific and very very granular. So you can take these template files all the way from, on the big end, the entire page, and on the little end you can take them down all the way to the field level. So you can have a template file that affects only one field. That's getting way more advanced, and we're not going to get into that at all. What else do I see in my framework project folder? I see a default favicon. I see a .info file. This kind of describes some information about the theme. See some licensing information, a logo, a default logo, more template files, a README file, a reset CSS file. In WebDesign, the reset CSS just resets some browser defaults. There's a screenshot that's provided for the appearance page. Let's flip back over to the appearance page. These are all screenshots, and they're just packaged in that in the module, or in the theme folder. And I have another style sheet, and finally a template.php. So template.php is a place for executing PHP functions that that pertain to the theme layer. We're not going to get into that either. So that's the anatomy of a theme, and like I said, framework is a very basic one. If you've looked under the hood of a more robust theme like Zen or Adaptive or Omega, you'll notice a lot more files. So when I use framework, I like to use it because it's very simple. Let's close this and go back to my Drupal installation. I'm going to scroll up to the top of the appearance page, and I can hit this link for install new theme. So just like installing modules, I have two options for installing a theme in the web interface. I can install from the URL, that's the URL of the download on Drupal.org, or I can upload the file directly. So this link that I clicked previously to download framework can also be used to install framework directly, or I can upload the file that I downloaded. I have a feeling that just copying this link will just be slightly quicker because it won't depend on my ISP's upload speed. It's two servers transferring files directly one another. It's not my local file, my local computer uploading to a server. So usually I'm thinking this install from URL option will be slightly quicker. Anyway, let's hit install and see what happens. And it looks like it's done. So I can go to the appearance page to enable my new theme. Let's just scroll down for it. Here we go. Framework is installed, and now I can enable it and set it as the default for my site. Now, I would actually, because Framework is meant to be a base theme, it's not meant to look very pretty on its own. So I would never actually use it as the theme for my site. But you can see that now that I've enabled it as default, you can see that all the basic elements of content are here. I can see the blocks that I created previously, my front page data, my menu is still here, but everything looks different. And so the theme's job is to affect the look and feel of the site, but not really the content. And as a base theme, Framework is intentionally very bare bones. But let's say I wanted to create my own customized look and feel using Framework as a base theme. Well, what I would do is follow the optional assignment and create a subtheme based on my base theme. So let's do that. Let's go to, we're going to start with Framework as the basis, and I'm going to copy Framework into a folder that I have available for a theming example. So by copying, by creating a couple of files in my new subtheme, by creating just a couple of files and by telling my subtheme that it is indeed a subtheme of Framework, Drupal will magically start to inherit aspects of the base theme when no overrides are present. So in other words, the subtheme is an opportunity to override aspects of a base theme, but retain the base theme everywhere else. So by creating just a couple of little tweaks, my subtheme will make some drastic changes, but by and large, the subtheme is going to rely on the base theme for most of its template files and so forth. So here I have my Framework folder. That's one base theme. I want to add a new folder. Let's give the folder a name. I usually use the following naming convention: my_framework. And my, of course, can be anything. So it can be library framework. My point is that I like to use the name of the base theme in my subtheme's name, and this is just so that anybody looking at the site backend later will know that that this subtheme is a subtheme of Framework. So I've created a folder, a shell for my subtheme. The next thing I'm going to do is go into my base theme and start pulling out a couple of things. Actually, I'm just going to pull out one thing, the .info file, and I'm going to paste it into the My Framework subtheme folder. And I'm going to change the name of this file to myframework.info. Then I'm going to open the file and edit a few things. I'll change the human readable name to myFramework. I can change the description to something like, this is my demo subtheme. I can leave core the same. I can leave engine in there. It's not really necessary for a subtheme to have that engine line, but let's just leave it. Now, the most important thing that I need to do to activate my framework as a subtheme of framework is to add this line: base theme equals framework. And you have to use the machine name of the theme that you want to base your subtheme off of. So I'm using framework with a lowercase f because that's how it appears here. That's the machine name. The folder has the machine name. The .info file has that name as well. So I'm going to copy that name exactly and make sure that it's a lowercase f. Now, frameworks stylesheet.css will automatically come into play in my subtheme because I've listed framework as a base theme. So my framework subtheme will automatically pull frameworks style.css into my subtheme. So if I want to add a new style sheet, I can leave this line the way it is and just add my new style sheet name. And my habit is always to name my style sheet with the same name as the theme. So because my theme is called My Framework, I'm going to name the style sheet myframework.css. This is because I might be working on half a dozen sites all at once, and so I'll have half a dozen CSS files open, and I want to be able to just quickly identify which theme they belong to, so I don't start changing colors and layout on the wrong theme. So I'm going to name my style sheet with the same name as my theme, myframework.css. Now I have to leave all of these regions in here just in case, because if these are customized regions that exist only in framework, and they're not a standard Drupal nomenclature for these regions, then the subtheme doesn't just inherit regions. The regions have to be redeclared in the subthemes.info. It's a little confusing. I don't really know why regions aren't just inherited simply, but they're not. So you just have to remember to leave these regions in here. This stuff, as the comment says, these lines are pieces of information added by Drupal.org. I can just get rid of those for my own custom subtheme. And let's save this. The next thing I want to do is add a new style sheet, myframework.css. Oh, I don't need to add the extension here because my software will do that automatically. So I have myframework.css. And because my themes.info file declared myframework.css, the theme will automatically know to look into the theme folder and look for a file called myframework.css. So here in myframework.css, here is where I'm going to make all of the unique modifications to my subtheme, my framework. And just for fun, let's make a couple quick modifications. Let's add a color to the body's background. Let's do kind of a light gray background to the body, and then I want the main page to still be the main region of the page. I still want to have a white background. Let's use the hex code. So I'm just doing this very quickly. I have an idea how this will actually look, but I'm not sure it will look terribly attractive. But my point is, I just want to show you how myframework.css will start to affect the look and feel of my site as soon as I install the myframework subtheme. So I've got a .info file, a CSS file with a couple of edits. Finally, I have those two files inside of a folder, and I think I'm ready to go. So let's go back to the directory here, and let's compress it. It's now a zip file. It's now ready to upload to my Drupal site. Let's install a new theme. This time I have to choose a file. I'm not going to find this this subtheme that I just created. I'm not going to find it anywhere on the web right now, so I'm just going to upload it from my hard drive. Documents. So I've selected the file to upload. Now let's hit install and see what happens. Now I want to find my framework. I want to enable it as a default. So this theme should look exactly like the old framework, except that I changed the background color of the body and I left the main area white. So let's go home and see what happens. Oh, and this is about what I expected to happen. So you can see that those two lines of CSS that I created have made the very beginning of some theming, and this doesn't look certainly doesn't look passable, but it's just a demo, right? So so that's how you do it. Now, normally you in a normal situation, if you're going to be doing theming work, you're not going to be uploading a zip file every little time you make a change to your theme. Right now, you guys, most of you, unless you've installed Drupal somewhere else on your own, those of you who are just using the sandbox site that we provided, you do not have FTP or shell access to the server. However, if you did have FTP or shell access to the server, you would find it much easier to install a theme that way, and then you can use some sort of development environment to whatever works for you to make CSS and template file changes much more efficiently. But for those of you who are trying this optional assignment, it's simply enough, in my mind, to go through the practice of creating a subtheme offline and then zipping it up and uploading it this way. But just keep in mind that this is not exactly how you would do it in the real world. And if you have any questions about that, of course, just ask. But that is the end of what I wanted to